What's up, shipheads? It's draft day. We are back, and this is a special episode because not only do I got my man Dez sitting here with me,
Oh
and we got
yes.
the gang back together for these drafts. We got the rivalry building. The fans love it. But like I said, this is a very special episode. This is actually going to be co-released, dual released across two separate feeds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
This
you
is
you,
just
you weren't ready for this. Here it is.
groundbreaking,
We
historic.
have our Ship It movie drafts feed, which you know and love. That's going to keep going. We're going to keep doing movie specific drafts on there, tackling down all our favorite fandoms, favorite characters. They're all going to keep coming. But something new. We have a new show coming out.
Ooh.
Party like it's dot 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 90s. That's
Oh.
your ultimate mixtape for 90s specific content. This draft coming up, it's 90s specific content. So we're going to hit it in both spots. Des, what do you love about the 90s? How excited are you for this upcoming draft today?
Yeah, what is there not to love about the 90s? I mean, this it just gives you so many awesome and amazing things from movies, television, music, cartoons. I mean, it had it all. I mean, the clothing, the hairstyles. It was a unique brand of time, and it has something special about it that just kind of brings you back. And maybe it's just because I'm getting older, and all these younger kids are on the TikTok, and they see the word 1990 in front of something, and immediately it's old. Like let us go back to the end of the 19th century, the 1900s. The that's if you want to feel really old, that's how you call it up.
Well, I haven't looked into this, but I'm pretty sure, scientifically speaking, it is the best decade ever. I'm pretty sure they've
Yeah.
proven that. So we're going to be doing a lot of different 90s themed drafts coming up. This one today, we have the year 1990. The field that we're drafting from is only 1990 releases. We're also going to be tackling all sorts of 90s content coming up. We're going to be doing music specific drafts. Let's build an ultimate mixtape for that year. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing sports specific drafts. Let's build a 90s dream team in the NBA. What were the super teams of the NFL? We're going to be tackling all that stuff. It's all coming up. But for this episode today, the year 1990, we're kicking off. We're going to go year by year. We're going to be basically in the kind of the minds of a studio, right? Drafting your ideal movie lineup for that year. So we have a few different categories. We're going to have a comedy film, a drama film, an action film, a romance film, sci-fi, horror, and then you need your family-friendly film. So looking at those sort of genres, which films from the year 1990 are you drafting to build your roster as a studio? And that's the mindset going into it. So, Des, I know you're a bit older than me. This is basically 1 year into my life, so some of these we're mostly going back and revisiting. You're probably auditioning for some of these, but what are you thinking about going back to the year 1990 specifically?
Yeah, 1990. I wish I was auditioning for some of these. I'd probably would have been like Dickie Roberts' child star at that point. Um, I was the ripe old age of 6 in the year 1990.
so,
Uh,
so Culkin was just stealing all your roles left and right.
yeah, and I was the funny thing it was is I was a little blonde haired kid too, so definitely he was definitely would have been my rival if we were growing up and auditioning for the same thing. So the 1990, it's going to be an interesting year because a lot of these transitionary years they still have a little bit of residual leftovers from like the decade before. So
Mm-hmm.
it's 1990. The 80s aren't that far away. They're still fresh in everyone's mind. So a lot of things are still trickling over from the 80s. A lot of trends, a lot of patterns and different things, whether it's music or movies. The music one's gonna be tough, because you gotta hold your cassette deck up against the radio and wait for your favorite song to come on. That's the best way to make your
Record.
mixtape.
And then someone starts recording over your old mixtape, and then the songs are crossing over.
Oh
Gotta stop
man,
it before the commercials. That's gonna be a
that's
fun
it.
one for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, because there was no editing those. It was either you got it just right or you had that
Right.
disc jockey talking over at the end. "Hey, well, mix 97. Oh man, oh it's ruined.
Damn you, DJ Kyle. Every time.
But specifically looking at this draft here, we have a storied history of going back and forth with these head-to-head drafts. I'm a huge fan of this format in general, and you know when we're talking movies, we're right in our wheelhouse here at Ship It. So you and I, we have similar tastes, and I feel like we try to get into each other's heads a little bit here. You gotta use this draft to your advantage, because you're gonna have the first pick in this draft today, and that's a huge thing to have. You can either squander it and maybe take a pick too early, or maybe put the old ultimate block up there and take something off the other person's short list. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we do here. If you look at the list of the movies that came out in 1990, for me anyway, what I had to do to make sure my short list was as best as possible, especially going up with somebody as crafty as you are. You're the expert at mind games here. So
very sneaky.
I've got to bring my A game to these drafts. And the thing with these is you got to look at the whole list and figure out which category is stacked, which one can you maybe wait till a little bit later on, and which one do you got to pull from right away to try to get the best value. So I think it's going to come into play here for me anyway when we look at some of the categories and what we're looking at for the year and the type of movies, because 1990, it's the year of the sequel, or the year of the continuation of a franchise. I feel like there's a lot of
like early franchise days when they just started to figure out like, hey, we just rinse and repeat this, and now you're seeing the second, third waves of them. Yeah, definitely consistency throughout that.
So 1990, real heavy sequel year for sure. So a lot of original talent. You got to scoop it up early.
Yeah, and one thing I'm excited about going in consensual order with these year by year is that you get to really look at the film releases side by side and the trends. So as we go towards the 2000s here, we're actually getting a deeper and deeper talent pool to pull from. But with 1990, the studios were just leaning to less annual releases at that point until they really found the formula that was working to really just continue to scale that. So I like having the first pick here. I think that there's some top tier talent. I'm going to look to lock that down, and then from there, just play the man, right? Cards on the table, just look at you across the call here, and then just we know each other's taste, right? So I think there's going to be some blow for blow punches here. But I will kick us off. Clock has started. Team Bull is up. First overall pick.
Okay, let's do this.
I went down the list and I just thought, what's the first film that just immediately resonates with me? And that's what I would probably lean into for the first pick. Because with these categories, like you said, you can kind of play it. How deep is it? What's the other person going to do? But first overall, you just got to take top tier talent. You got to go with Goodfellas. I think it's aged the best out of all of these films. I think it's the most culturally relevant film today. If you look at it for how much it's ingrained in culture, people talk about it, people quote it. I think it's the one where if you go and poll people, you would consistently see this in top 5, top 10 lists of people's personal favorite films. So when I look at just all the boxes this film is checking, I'm going to really lock it down as my flagship film as a studio.
It's not a bad choice for first overall pick. I mean, anything De Niro related, it's gonna be top tier, top quality stuff. So, like you said, you look at 1990. There's a lot of sequels, a lot of unoriginal things just kind of coming back and showing us, another version of that film. Goodfellas stands on its own,
right?
It's its own thing.
I mean, there's obviously The Godfather out there in a similar genre, but I think it's people pull to that film for slightly different reasons on why that might be their favorite, even competing with The Godfather in certain conversations. But you just look at from a director standpoint, right? So many amazing things that Marty's doing with that film and the talent with it. Obviously, Liotta, blowing up that film. You got Pesci, who is one of my favorite performances in that movie. I could just watch the clown clip over and over and over again. So, it's definitely a favorite of mine, and definitely happy to have that coming off the first pick.
Yeah, again, sometimes I like to try to downplay how good of a pick you have sometimes, and I feel like I would
Try
I
it.
feel like I would be doing
Say
a
something bad
disservice.
about Goodfellas. I dare you.
I can't. I'm gonna have to just. I'm gonna put that one in my pocket. I'm gonna save it for later because I don't think I can. I don't think I can do it. I don't want to do it. Really, is what it comes down to.
So now it's back over to you. You get 2 picks here. Close out the second, open up the third. There's definitely some other top ones I was eyeing, so I'm a little worried having you have back to back here. I feel like it's going to be a few blows that I'm taking, seeing how
Yeah,
this falls.
yeah. Sometimes having the second pick is advantageous in these head to head matchups here because you get 2 in a row. So maybe you don't get the top tier talent in some of these drafts, but you're going to get really close to the top tier talent, and then sometimes 2 of them. So I'm going to do my best here not to mess this up, as usual. But but again, I look at these categories, right? And we've got all these roster spots, right? You got to follow the rules. You got comedy, drama, action, romance, sci-fi, horror, family. So when you look at all these categories, I think that a couple of them stand out as real deep pools, and some of them not so much. And for me, when I look through the list, the pool that I thought might have been the weakest or might have been the hardest to find the top tier talent has got to be sci-fi for at least for 1990 anyway. There wasn't a crazy pool of sci-fi movies in 1990. So I went to sci-fi first, and immediately that top one there jumped out at me, and for great reason, because it's starring one of the biggest stars of the 1990s.
Don't do it.
In one Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I'm going to go with Total Recall, and I'm going to drop that one right in the sci-fi spot there. And for me,
Oh, the
one of
Colin
my
Farrell
favorite.
movie, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there has to be something to said for a movie when it gets remade. I mean, it's got to be a big enough hit, popular enough to warrant being remade. They're not remaking bad movies, at least you hope not, anyway. But Total Recall, one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Just completely innovative, brand new. Life on Mars, this whole secret spy thing. It's a great film. It was kind of cutting edge, when it came to visual and the things that they were doing, visually before computer graphics were really a big thing in the film industry. So I think it's a pretty solid lock in here for Total Recall.
I really thought you were going to go Never Ending Story Chapter 2.
Oh,
You
we
still have
don't
another
talk
pickup
about
here
that.
so you can redeem yourself. I'm surprised you let it fall so fast, but Total Recall it's a fine choice. It's a solid choice. Obviously everyone loves Arnie, but having like I said, Never Ending Story 2 is still on there. It's just be interesting to see what you do with your next pick.
I mean, I still have a family category open. I mean, that's probably you played your hand a little too early there by throwing that one out there when I still have a pick to go here. So
Never Ending Story. I just wanted an excuse to say that, honestly.
For a never-ending story, it kind of ended after 2, right? So,
well, there's like 5 of them, isn't there?
Is there more than 2?
Oh yeah, there's definitely 3, if not 4.
Oh, God.
I think they kept going and did the straight to DVD releases.
I tried to block it out. I tried to block it out of my memory after the first one. In my mind, there's only one, and that's all they ever did. I just left it alone because
even that's a hard wash.
So,
Bastion's horse.
Well, I mean, that's a tough one to rewatch as an adult too, especially having all that nostalgia built in there. And that's what's great about these drafts, these early 90s drafts. The nostalgia feelings that you get reviewing all these movies, it's my favorite part. So
Total Recall is great though. A lot of great background stories on that film with just Arnold and him kind of pushing it to be made in the finish line and stuff. So that's one if you aren't as aware of the production of it, it's interesting to kind of go back and see that just all the creative things they did to have it be such a unique film with kind of the budgets that they had. So good pick. Definitely a top sci-fi one out there.
Yeah, that category is tough. The other category that I had to look at, and again, the pool is smaller in this category. I think was the romance. The romance category is a little thinner in 1990 than maybe some other years. So
Yeah, when
again,
did Hallmark movies start to ramp up?
you know, I'm not sure when that trend started, but there's certainly a large enough pool in the years that it's been going now that I think that you could, pick quite a few out of that one. So whatever year that those started, that draft year, that category is real deep.
Okay.
So
Bulls lean into that. I'll let you know right now.
I don't want to. You can pick somebody else to go head to head on the year that the Hallmark Channel movies started up. So
Right.
I don't want to go up against you in that category. Your knowledge is too deep. So for my romance category, I went with pretty much the most obvious pick in this category. 1990, huge year for Julia Roberts and her breakout hit of Pretty Woman with Richard Gere. So locking down that one, top tier talent in the romance category for any year, let alone 1990. You put that Pretty Woman up against the romantic movies in any year, it's going to be in the top 5 probably. So.
Big mistake.
Locking that one in.
Big, huge.
Why is that? Do you not like Julia Roberts? You have something against Richard Gere?
No, it's just a fun quote from that movie. Did you even see Pretty Woman?
Well, obviously I have. It's about a woman who is pretty, and
that's what it is. No, that's when she's the lady. This is her when she's shopping. She goes back with her blank check, basically.
Yeah.
Tells her
probably my top 5 favorite movie about prostitutes.
What are the other ones?
It's hard. It's really hard to put them in order.
No ranking, but just a general pool of my favorite.
But it's hard to believe that the subject matter would make it such a romantic movie, but
right.
Somehow it works.
A little risque for 1990.
Yeah. All right, so that brings you back to round 2 for your second pick.
So I definitely saw those being the top few going. That and Neverending Story Chapter 2, but those were 2 great picks. So now it's back to me. 2 back-to-back. So I start looking at the categories. Drama, I got that locked down with Goodfellas. And that's kind of probably one of your more wider pools, because a lot of things could technically fall in the drama. It's kind of a weird thing to really put in a box.
Yeah.
But now we start to go to those more specialty genres where you have really identifiable films. So going down, I want top tier talent overall as a film, and then ones that are going to, check out a really good box. So I'm going to go family friendly here. And this is one of the top films of the year, one of the top grossing films. It was for multiple months, it was the top grossing film of the year. So, sitting here in the second round, having that fall to me, I'll gladly have that. You go back-to-back Pesci here. A little Home Alone with your rival, man. Macaulay Culkin. So I'm playing the man here. I'm twisting the sword. Anytime I can lean into more Pesci, I'm going to do it. And like I said, another top grossing film of the year. I'll lock it down. Family friendly, got the holiday cycle going. Yeah. And another one, really interesting backstory on how they made it. There was the Movies That Made Us episode, right, where they basically did the whole thing in the school. So definitely check that episode out if you haven't. But so happy to have Home Alone and open up my target pool a little bit with Goodfellas with the mature audiences. And then I got the whole family that can go and check out Home Alone.
Yeah. I mean, you're really just, showcasing, the range of Joe Pesci here in your theater that you're releasing right. all these movies in.
Wilder was the same year too.
Do you want Joe Pesci who's going to smash a baseball bat in someone's head, or do you want Joe Pesci who's going to comically try to smash a kid's head in with a baseball bat? I mean, really, it's just which Joe Pesci do you prefer?
Right.
You want the bricker, muttering Joe Pesci?
It's great. He made up his own language, so he could embody swearing, because he just has such a hard time not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, when they pitch this to him, they're probably like, "Do you know who he is, Joe Pesci? Did you see Goodfellas?" Or, well, I guess I didn't see Goodfellas because it came out around the same time as Home Alone, but I'm sure they've seen his other work. So, solid choice there. Movies That Made Us on Netflix, definitely a good series to check out for all these behind the scenes things. What a crazy experience that must have been to work on that film. They just made a Lego Home Alone set came out just recently of the McAllister house, the entire
Ooh,
house. You get the little mini
that's a good
figs
one.
with all
Like
the
Mouse Hunt. It's all the
yeah,
traps.
you got the bad guys, you got the mom, and then Kevin, Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, we're gonna feel this rivalry. I love it
Yeah,
already.
I'm just gonna tell you right now. I think Rory's a better actor. What do you? I said it. It's out there.
You're manifesting it. Yeah,
That's
that's
still a
one.
solid choice
It's
though.
another never-ending story. They're coming back with more Home Alone content coming to Disney Plus. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a remake. Not that we need a remake. Another one of those franchises where after a certain point, after Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, I just was like, no, there's no more. That's it. I
don't tell
don't
Mr.
choose
Zach
to
that.
acknowledge.
Mr. Zach's a huge Home Alone 3 advocate.
He would be. He would be.
All right, so I got another one here.
Makes perfect sense now.
And I see one other top tier film that I think people are going to gravitate to as just one of the most iconic ones of the year.
Okay.
I think it's kind of a little bit of a hybrid film where you could ultimately put it in a few different categories here. I feel like I got some deeper picks for some of these other ones out there. So I know you already have romance.
The Jetsons movie, right?
What's that?
It's the Jetsons movie, right? The Jetsons.
So you get family friendly, you have horror, right? So naturally, be either one of those. But I know you already have your romance, so normally I'd wait on that. But I'm gonna take this one, lock it down in the romance slot, which is a rare move by me. Just leave my other categories open for some other deeper picks that I have. But
Okay.
I got Pesci. I need the Swayze. So bringing in Patrick, Demi combo, get some Whoopi in there. We're bringing in Ghost.
Oh man.
Top 5 pottery movie out there. And I'll lock it down my romance spot. So I got Goodfellas, Home Alone, and Ghost. My top 3 right now.
Listen, you know how much of a fan of Ghost I am.
This is true. You're like absurdly obsessed with that movie. It's weird I know that.
Anyone that's listened to this podcast more than once has probably heard me mention something about Ghost at some point. It's just one of those movies. If it's on TBS, I'm going to stop. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it no matter where it's at,
That's where I knew I couldn't let you get it you can make a case for horror. You can make a case for drama, right? So
yeah.
I had to lock it down and I'll just, put it in my romance box. I think that drops up a little bit for 1990. So
yeah, I feel like I saw that at an early age. Again, 1990, I was 6. Probably shouldn't have been watching Ghost for more than one
sliding
reason.
Down the guy like a guillotine was too much for you.
All the black shadow demons coming out of the ground with their creepy noises, like they're from The Grudge or something. So I probably shouldn't have been watching it, but for some reason it sticks out for me. It was one of the movies that I just love to watch.
It was always on TV. It was one of those runs where you threw it on, and it's usually on one channel during the weekend.
Right. I feel like whenever I turn it on, it's always the spot where the guy's yelling at him, like, "Get off my train!"
Oh, that guy was freaky.
And he's trying to push the Coke can and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's for some reason that's where the spot it's always on when I turn it on. Could just be me, but. All right, so you got a pretty solid lineup here. If you're opening a movie theater or opening up a movie studio franchise, and you're starting your studio with these 3 movies on your slate, you've got a pretty good start to things here. Total Recall, Pretty Woman, I like mine as well. I got a good wide range of audience are going to come and watching these movies here.
It's okay.
So again,
it's fine.
Let's I'm going to go into the category that I'm one of the biggest fans of. Between comedy and horror, those are my two go-to genres there. Again, not a huge horror year in 1990. Nothing to go right home about as far as like a slate of horror movies that came out that year. But this one I'm going to pick, I feel like, again, one of those genre-bending movies, could go into many categories. Maybe it could be comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could call this action. But I'm going to, I think it's supposed to be a horror movie. That's what it's billed as. But eventually it takes a turn and definitely makes a turn towards comedy. But I'm going to go with the original, the OG, one of the best, the original Tremors movie with Mr. Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. So I was just joking about the Macaulay Culkin stuff. You don't have to be a dick and go grab Tremors like that. I was definitely that was my top tier horror film. I didn't think you would go horror that early because there's not a, I mean, there's not a lot out there, but you got your sequels out there, right?
Yeah.
There's a few to pick from, but yeah, I thought
Again,
Tremors was going to go a little bit later. I'm a little bit bummed about that.
it's just one of those things. Again, you could have slid it into the comedy category. Maybe you could make a bid for drama. Maybe, I don't know. There is some drama there. When that girl's on the pogo stick and you're like, get off the pogo stick. You gotta get off the ground. Like
It
that's
is it's such a fun movie.
it's traumatic. And then you got Kevin Bacon in one of his earlier roles. Real young Kevin Bacon. It's good stuff. I think he made the right choice not coming back for a lot of the sequels.
Yeah,
Earl, Tremors 2, I'm still a
you can put
fan.
up with it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Tremors 3, you start losing me a little, but after Tremors 3, again, it's one of those never-ending story situations. I just choose to forget that the rest of them are out there. Like you
It's
just got to
funny
know when to
we talk
hang
about
up
the
the towel.
franchise landscape of Hollywood, and now it's like, okay, you have your superhero films, right? Your big franchises, but we're talking about Tremors 4, Home Alone 3, like Never Ending Story 6. Like it's
Yeah,
funny how they're what they were leading into in
it's
this
weird how
early
some
part of the
franchises
decade.
can like put them down and be like, no, that's fine, that's good. We've done a good job. That's fine. We don't need to do any more. And then it's like just one more little bow on top, and
Right.
it's too many bows, and then the whole thing tips over, and then it's over. So
So we're
it's a
heading the
fine line
fourth round
between,
here. You got your Tremors, you got your horror locked down.
yeah.
You got another pick coming your way.
I'm gonna lock in a movie again. Some of these could be lots of genres here. It's kind of up for discussion, up for debate, which kind of categories you put some of these in. I'm just gonna come out and say it. This is one of the early Johnny Depp movies that really blew everyone's mind. It's Edward Scissorhands. I'm gonna go with that. You know, 1990, got young Johnny Depp. Handsome young fella here with all these scars on his face and the scissors. Winona Ryder. Um, you know, I think at this point, has Beetlejuice come out yet for Winona Ryder?
Yeah.
Uh, so
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
that was
like late 80s.
yeah, right around Batman.
It might have been. It might have been just before this, or
88,
maybe
yeah. So
just
it
yeah.
was right around
So Winona
Batman.
Ryder, she's riding high. Johnny Depp, he's a young and upcoming guy. He had Crybaby, all these other young Johnny Depp movies. Big horror guy, Nightmare on Elm Street. People forget it wasn't the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean,
Yep.
that was one of his
Probably the best.
first roles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun to look in the early horror movies and seeing them get their start. But
Yeah,
I will say Edward Scissorhands, I rewatched it recently. Personally, I'm not crazy about it. I like Burton's other stuff better. It's a little too weird for me. But I think for a family film, I mean, you're going up against Home Alone here. This is where we start stacking team against team here. Home Alone against Edward Scissorhands. I think I'm quartering that family market.
yeah. I mean,
You had Never Ending
if,
Story Chapter 2 in there. Maybe a different story, but
oh man, yeah, tough. I guess when you look head to head, if I got a family of varying age children, I probably would lean towards Home Alone over Edward Scissorhands, just because you're probably looking at a little bit more mature of a subject matter for Edward Scissorhands.
Mhm.
You're probably right there,
Yep.
but it's still a solid pick there. I think again, it could fit in other categories. You haven't picked your sci-fi yet, so I think it's probably good to lock that one down in case you try to steal that one away from me, maybe.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting looking at the top ones and which categories it could fall to. It adds a lot of strategy. So I'm up here to close up the fourth. I'm still I'm still a little bitter about your recall pick. I'm a huge RD guy. And all I gotta say to you is it's not a tumor. I will lock down Kindergarten Cop here because it is one of my favorite movies to go back and revisit. It's I'm gonna put in my action movie slot.
Oh
I don't
wait,
think there's a
what?
ton of big action movie contenders in this year. So I think that's one you
Real?
can
Oh,
have some flexibility with. It's technically categorized as an action movie. You get your ending kind of build up with the villain right coming in, and it's
Right.
kind of the beats for align with that. But I think outside of that, it's a little bit of a hybrid too, right? It's comedy,
Yeah.
some
Yeah. I
family
thought
aspects to
kind
it.
of thought you were
So
gonna slide that right in the comedy spot there, with after hearing a little "Who's your daddy?" and "What does he do?"
yeah, so dad wants to go to the theaters and see an Arnold movie, but wait, he's got to bring he's has the kids that day. Can't go see
Tough.
Total Recall. Can't go
No.
bring him to see three breasts on the screen. Mom's gonna kill him. So take him to see Kindergarten Cop. I was
Yep.
plucking audiences right from your theater.
I mean, 1990 was a good year for Arnold. That's two
Right.
that's two solid releases in his arsenal there that could be. They're definitely in his top 10. Definitely in his top 10 of all time. So in
And
the
one
same
could
year.
argue
So
that is one of the best Arnold quote movies out there.
oh yeah, one of the more quotable ones, obviously. Yeah, a wide range of quotes there.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. Not bad. I definitely didn't see you sliding into the action spot there, but so definitely thrown me for a little loop there.
I think there's some names you can plug in, but like I said, I think it's a weak year. So I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna follow up with me to try to match me in that category.
Well, I got some tricks up my sleeve.
But next, sometimes you gotta do a homer pick. Sometimes you gotta get in a pick that's just for you personally. Studio exec, I just want to see a movie that I want to see.
Here comes Never Ending Story 2.
It keeps coming back. But I look at here, I got comedy left, I got sci-fi left, horror left.
Right.
You got sci-fi and horror, so I got to lean into comedy there and try to get that locked in. And why not get a fan favorite for myself? I'm gonna bring in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ooh,
Again, another family-friendly one. Not gonna have your raunchy
man.
comedy in there. The Bull Studio is built for the families. It's a families going
Yeah.
to the movie theater is a family going experience. So why not
Bring
make
grandma
it?
down and see these giant talking mutated turtles.
Yeah, and then you have your select audience go see Goodfellas, but outside of that, that's what we're focusing on. So yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, locking in for comedy. Obviously, Michelangelo slaying the laughs rates through the roof. The pizza gabs, you got your kung fu
Master
fighting, yeah,
Splinter.
all of that. So I love it. Great to go back. Perfectly encapsulates that era,
Yeah.
right? So I'll add to the mix on my comedy spot.
Again, I didn't think Ninja Turtles would show up there.
I heard Culkin's a huge Ninja Turtles fan.
Is it?
Throwing that out there.
Man, that makes sense now. Well, again, I'd like to hate on the pick, but personally speaking, one of my favorite movies growing up, favorite franchises, the cartoon, the series, the action figures. It's all in the '90s. The entire Ninja Turtles franchise encapsulates the '90s as a whole. So definitely can't hate on that list there. You're leaving a little family friendly heavy at your studio. Hopefully, maybe you can round it out and not alienate the older, non-kid having fans out there. But we'll see.
So I got Goodfellas. I'm going to lean heavy on that. I think it's going to be a big driver. But what else is a kid going to do in 1990? You tell me. No, he's going to go to the movies.
That's true. This is true. All right. Well, I got two back-to-back picks here. And so again, looking at my categories that I have left, let's see. I got my drama category, I've got my action category, and I've got my comedy. So a lot of high-end categories here. A lot of good stuff. Again, I think those three were the ones that had maybe the widest range of pool to choose from in 1990. I'm gonna do another one of those genre bending ones. I like those genre bending ones where we could slide into this category or that category. Let's see where we're gonna go here. This one could definitely be categorized as a horror, but I'm gonna put it in my drama category. I like this one here. It's one of my favorite Stephen King movies, and one of my favorite Kathy Bates performances. I'm talking about Misery. Came out in 1990, and you want to talk about something you're not going to want to bring your children to? How about the hobbling of a man strapped down to a bed? You ain't going to bring any kids to this one.
Look what you made me do.
The very strange Annie Wilkes She's a cockadoodie. She won't swear. you won't catch any F-bombs out of her mouth, but she will drop a sledgehammer straight to your ankles. So again, could be horror, but I'm gonna slide it in the drama category. I like it.
I think the drama is pretty open ended. I think you can make that case, and it's you'll get one of the better villains out there, right? So that's gonna, you can lean into that for the marketing, get the draw. So
we had a spoiler alert. One of our other casts we had about top female villains. She was definitely high on that list. So.
And again, I'm a little upset because you knocked down Tremors. I thought that was one I could wait on for my horror spot, but yeah, you could, it fits in drama too, so I'll allow it.
All right. Well, that closes out that round, and I'm going to start off the second to last round here. I got comedy and I got action. Two great categories. Lots of choices here. Again, I don't know what to put this one under sometimes. This one, again, up for debate. The category as well, when you have a Western, what kind of, it's obviously action, there's drama, but there's could be some comedy in there too. I'm going to put this one in my action category and go with one of my favorites from this one particular actor. It reminds me of a little story here, Bull. I was at the bar and there was a guy over there, and he turned around and he tipped his cap like this. And who do you think that guy was?
Emilio
Estevez. The Mighty Duck Man.
Mr. Mighty Duck.
I know. You were there. You were the one screaming the Breakfast Clubber's name.
I was trying to figure out how I could spin Young Guns 2 as a horror sci-fi movie. I was like, can I make this case? I want it.
Yeah, tough one there. I'm gonna put Young Guns 2 right in there in my action slot there. All-star cast: Emilio, Kiefer, Lou Diamond, Christian Slater. I mean, it was just an absolute star-studded cast, high production value Western. Great soundtrack. I mean, it was just overall, it was just a fantastic movie. Young Guns 1, good. Young Guns 2, great. I mean, very rare do you see a sequel outdo the original. But Young Guns 2, I'd put that on the short list of things, of the sequels that were better than the originals.
Damn it. I mean, I couldn't even draft it, but I'm still mad.
Tough choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go a little payback now because I know this one's going to sting a little bit for
you. Oh no!
So
it's got Macaulay Culkin in it. Don't you even dare!
The re-release of Uncle Buck. So I got sci-fi horror left here. You kind of did me dirty on horror. Not really sure what I'm going to do now. Slim pickings, but sci-fi is going to be a payback pick right here.
Okay.
Because I know we're both huge fans of this franchise.
Oh, no.
I got to bring it Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh.
I got to do it. You got your Western, I got to get my Western.
Oh, man. That's like a wicked double dip right there.
Think about the marketing campaigns going back. You go, oh, look at this, Emilio Estevez. Look at this Western movie. You got to go see it. And I'm like, oh, what's cool? How about a Western with time travel? Yeah, how about that?
You ever see a DeLorean run up against a horse?
Yeah. So now I'm playing the marketing game on you. Yeah. And I'm answer for answer here. So
yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that at all.
Again, family friendly.
Not a fan.
Now I got horror next. Honestly, I don't want any of these. You start going down the list here. And Predator 2, Child's Play 2, Gremlins 2, maybe. Oh. I may consider this one.
Okay.
I think I just have the studios locked up for my movie releases so well. I'm gonna take a little different angle if you allow it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna throw this pick to make it a little bit more even. I'm going to do a television release, a miniseries Let's get it in here. I'm just gonna
Oh,
live off of commercial revenue. That's all I need. I still have this draft locked in. I'm just gonna get some commercial revenue, and then I'll let you catch up a little bit at the box office, keep it more competitive. But
yeah,
yeah, it came out in 1990, so I got to give it some love here in this draft. Do I not?
yeah. Kind of a sneaky loophole there to get that one in. Originally it was it was shown as like a TV series, in multiple parts over several nights. But eventually came out on VHS as a movie. So I think that's that. I'll allow it. I'll allow that, mostly because it's Stephen King, and you can't really go wrong with Stephen King on stuff. So hard to argue against that.
Again, family friendly because all of us saw it way too young as kids.
Oh my god, it took me so long to just look down in the drain in the shower. After a while, I was expecting a red balloon to come out of that damn thing.
Right. Yeah, the
Tough.
rest of the horror field was pretty weak there. I was considering the witches, honestly, in
Okay,
that spot, but
that's a weird one too, because like
weird. I don't think it has the marketing draw, so
it's not.
I'll
I
lean
mean,
into Stephen
it's
King.
a family movie technically, right? I mean,
Yeah,
but it's a little scary.
the her I'd consider her horror.
Yeah, it's a little terrifying.
Hmm.
They take the faces off, like when they're alone and they take all the faces off. It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, it's just rinse and repeat horror sequel. So
Yeah.
Tremors and Misery, you
Well,
double dip on that, kind of forced me down this path.
any chance I get to throw an extra horror movie into another category, it's good there.
Yep.
Surprised you didn't go with Exorcist 3. I might as well throw out a sequel or third part of something that's like completely crappy.
Yeah, and it feels a little cheap. You're doing a year specific draft. You want to have really good draw to the audience. I think just throwing out another sequel like that, it's not what my studio's about. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got the last spot here to close this draft out, and I've got the comedy one left. Again, I think I left that one for the last because I feel like there was a decent amount of comedy on this list for 1990. That nothing, not like a legendary slate of anything, but again, you had Ninja Turtles, which you already snagged. You've got Home Alone, which you already have. Kindergarten Cop, which isn't even in your comedy category. So, these are all great movies. But then you had some sequels, Another 48 Hours, 3 Men and a Little Lady, Bird on a Wire, which wasn't sequel, but it's kind of comedy-ish. But there was a lot of these ones that were could have gone either way. But I wanted to go something a little more original, and this one stood out for me. When I saw this name on the list, I immediately put it down on the short list for this category. I'm gonna go with Problem Child. Uh, maybe a sneaky last round pick. It's one of those ones where you wouldn't think of Problem Child being top tier category comedy, but in 1990 that was pretty funny. It was John. You had John Ritter, who was at the height of his career, coming off of Three's Company and all these things. Making this movie about this literally redheaded stepchild that just completely ruining this guy's life. So I'm gonna go Problem Child.
you know what movie
Problem
I
Child 1, Problem Child
immediately
2.
what movie I immediately thought of when you said that?
Yeah. What's that?
Macaulay Culkin hit The Good Son. That's what you were going with a few years later.
It always has to come back to Macaulay Culkin.
Yep. That or Never Ending Story. That's the gimmick.
Yeah,
This
that's
cast.
it. Yeah, we should probably count how many times we said "never ending story" in this cast. It's probably a record
It's,
we could
it's a
call
never-ending
Guinness.
joke.
It's
Just keep going back to it.
Yeah, so that rounds out the draft there. So again, a lot of choices in here. Maybe just
a lot of outs.
one or two honorable mentions, maybe, just to see.
Yeah, like other ones we were eyeing.
Yeah.
I was really close to locking down Hunt for Red October for action, but I wanted the Arnold answer. I think you just you look at the top movie star in the world at that point. So
Right.
I want that. I don't want you to corner all the Arnold action fans. But that was definitely in there. I think that's one that would stick out to people? They're going down the list. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, we look at the
King of New
potential list
York
here.
could be another, Marty pick out there.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Let me just take a look at this list of movies that came out in 1990. I mean, there's a couple that we didn't really mention that I thought deserves a little mention.
Marty. What am I thinking?
Flatliners was a horror movie that I think went under the radar. That was one of the ones I considered for my horror spot. And again, young Kiefer Sutherland in that one, Kevin Bacon. Eventually, what got remade, down the road. Again, talked about Johnny Depp. Crybaby came out in 1990.
Got the Captain America movie.
Yeah, the original one there.
Maybe
Child's Play 2.
Maybe you're jumping ahead on your superhero trends, right?
You could have gone down the Chucky road.
Lord of the Flies.
Child's Play 2.
I put that as horror.
I think I got to rewatch the Child's Play franchise again because the plots for all of them, like, all just kind of melt together for me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like,
nothing really sticks out for each
Chucky
of them.
trying to ride a little kid like a backpack all the time and murder everyone around him.
Yeah, they just keep evolving it on the toy manufacturing side, and like they lean into that a lot. But yeah, pretty much the same rinse and repeat.
Yeah, Dances with Wolves came out that year.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2, Die Harder, of course.
That's the other one that I thought you were going to go with on action.
It's tough not to go with Bruce Willis or Nicolas Cage and things. If they're out there as a choice, they're definitely going to be heavily considered before I make some choices.
But I'm a Die Hard 1 and 3 guy, so I'm not going to sit there and settle for a part of the franchise I'm not as excited about. So
yeah, there's no Carl Winslow in part 2, so
right, no Sam Allen.
One of the ones that I'm actually shocked at myself that I didn't put on my list was Days of Thunder. Great,
yeah.
Tom Cruise NASCAR movie.
Maybe you get a studio deal with him, lock him down for a few films, play the futures.
Yeah. But otherwise, pretty solid. Why don't we go over our lists here by category, head to head, and just kind of go see where we landed here with our franchise.
Yeah. So Studio Bull, the dominant studio in the market here. We got our comedy slot's gonna be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Drama, we got Goodfellas. Action, Kindergarten Cop. Romance, Ghost. Sci-fi, Back to the Future Part Trace. Horror, we get some TV audience. So we'll bring in It. We're gonna start to build out that part of the studio. And then we got our family-friendly film. We got Home Alone, starring the Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, I mean, you put those 7 movies on a marquee at a theater, like you're about to walk in. That's a tough choice. If someone was like, "Here's these 7 movies we have to watch,"
you get to pick one,
and you have to watch one. Yeah, you have to watch one. That's tough. That's
probably
a tough
gonna be
choice
Goodfellas. Goodfellas and Home Alone, depending on the time of the year.
I mean, could be Back to the Future 3 for me. I mean, I would probably, if you're going bang for your buck, you're going to go see it because it's like 6 hours long.
Every viewing of Ghost, every time slot, you're like, oh, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me 10 tickets to Ghost. And you're just going to sit in there.
I'm going to hide in the bathroom and sneak into the next one and then sneak into the next one. But yeah, good choices there. At the on the marquee under the Dez Theater here, we were talking our comedy here, Problem Child, the drama Misery, the action Young Guns 2, Pretty Woman for my romance movie, Total Recall for sci-fi, Tremors, the OG Tremors for horror, and Edward Scissorhands for my family movie. So again, pretty solid marquee there too.
You're definitely leaning into the adult audience, and I'm leaning on the family side. I think it's a pretty clear line at this point.
Yeah. I mean, there's 5 of my 7 movies. You're not bringing a kid younger than 13 to.
Right.
So,
right. So
I mean, in 1990, maybe you are, because no one cared in 1990 if you brought your kids.
That's true.
So you just go in.
Anything.
I'll take 2 to this movie. Showgirls, is it called? I think it's what it is. Yeah.
Right.
Where's your parents?
Beauty pageant.
Oh, they're around. Okay, cool. Here's your ticket.
Yeah.
Have a good show.
But I look at, what's good? 2 tickets is fine. You know what's better? 4 tickets and popcorn and soda
Yeah,
and candy.
yeah, yeah. That's box office numbers. You're probably gonna fill a lot more seats than I
Yep.
will with families. So if you want to enjoy a movie in peace, not to have someone kicking the back of your chair the entire time, you got to probably come to my theater.
Damn kids. All right, now that was a fun one. We
Peace and
close
quiet.
out 1990. And like I said, we're going to keep it going back. We're going to be doing a little mixtape music one. So let's get some tunes
Ooh,
going from the year 1990. It's going to be some classics here that everyone's going to remember. And then
yep.
going on from there, old 1991. What do we got? We got Terminator 2. We got Prince of Thieves, Beauty and the Beast, Silence of the Lambs. It's a pretty
Yeah.
fun
Damn.
year to go back to. So we're going to be doing that next. We're going to just keep
Yeah.
these going. Make sure you check out Ship It Movie Drafts feed. We're going to have all of our movie specific drafts on there. Make sure you check out the Party Like It's dot 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 90s feed. We're going to have anything that falls in the 90s bucket. There will be individual film releases, these drafts. We're going to be doing take fives. We're going to bring in other creators from across the network to do sports content, to do horror films, get the Scary Movie Project folks in here. We're going to be getting everyone involved. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of different types of content coming your way. So subscribe across the board, and we will catch you on the next one. Mr. Dez, I appreciate you coming on and losing again, and we will see you on the next draft, my buddy. Go watch Neverending Story Part 2.
Oh man, it was fun. We had fun. We had fun now, didn't we?
We'd had a decent time, yes. And that should do it. All right. One.
Yep.